Here is the image registration tool. Click on the corresponding icon. You can see two cubes that will be linked and registered so they can later be analyzed together to increase the available spectral information. First, open the reference cube. This one will remain fixed. It will be our reference. For example, here it is the near-infrared cube. It is displayed in the fixed cube panel. Now open the cube that will be registered. It is a capture of the same sample, but acquired with another camera. Here it is, displayed at the bottom. For both the reference cube and the moving cube, you can choose how the grayscale image used for registration is generated, either by averaging across the full spectrum or by selecting a single band manually. This can be useful for some materials that are visible only in specific spectral bands. Now that both images are available, you can start feature detection, also called key points, using one of the two methods provided here. You will choose case by case which one works best depending on your images. When you click Get Features, an algorithm finds matching key points, and then a transformation is applied. Here, you also have two options, perspective or affine. Again, you should test both to see which one gives the best result. The registration result is shown in the window on the right. You can visualize it in checkerboard mode, where the fixed cube and the registered cube are displayed as alternating small squares. Or, you can visualize it in color overlay mode, a magenta layer over a green layer. If you see magenta or green areas, it means there is a small misalignment in those locations. If you notice a problem, you can also display the key points found by the algorithm. Here, you can choose how many key points are displayed for each view. In this example, we display 10. The larger this number is, the more key points are shown on the same image. With the slider on the right, you can scroll through the next key points to check for potential matching issues. If you identify a problem, for example here, when you see lines crossing, it means one key point has been matched incorrectly. Here, key point number 6, which corresponds to a line on the left side of the right image, does not match the associated point on the other image at all. In that case, you have two options. The first option is to move the point, if you know exactly where key point number 6 should be located. Here we can see it should be on this line under the feature here, so we can shift it manually using a right click. But if you are not sure, or if the point cannot be placed precisely, you can delete it using the middle mouse button, or Ctrl plus left click. In that case, the key point is removed, and it will no longer be used for the registration. At some point, you may see that too many key points are problematic. Let's say that from key point number 150, we have too many matching issues. Instead of selecting and deleting them one by one, we can simply ignore them for the registration. This is done using the Features to Keep percentage slider. When you move it, you can observe what happens in the label at the top right. For now, the message is red, which means the key points you see here, and the following ones, will not be used for registration. If we increase the percentage, the message turns black again, and the key points in this range will be used. So we are looking for the threshold where we decide to ignore key points, right here. Key points from this view, meaning from number 150, will not be used for registration. We can then compute a new transformation. As you can see, the software protects the previous registration result to avoid accidental unwanted changes. So we apply the transformation again and display the result once more. Here it is, in color mode. We do not see strong magenta or green areas, except in a few locations where the sample may have shifted slightly because this was flexible paper. You can try to improve the registration by changing the detection or transformation algorithms, or, as shown earlier, by adjusting kinetics that are mismatched. If you are only interested in a specific region, you can also select a region with a right click and save only that region. Let's look at a saving example. If you want to keep only a part of the cube, which is generally not recommended, it is usually better to save the full cube and then use the Minikube tool to extract smaller regions from the registered cube. You can choose to save only the selected region by checking this option. By default, the full cube is saved. You can save both full cubes or only the registered one. If you want to keep both cubes together in the same folder, the registered cube and the fixed reference cube, we recommend saving both at the same time. You can save in HDF5, which is recommended for this application. But if you need to export data to share with collaborators, Envy or MATLAB formats are also available. You can also export the registered images as PNG, either in grayscale or in color. When you save, a default name is suggested. It uses the original cube name and adds a small suffix. And then we save. In this example, we also save the reference cube, and a name is suggested for it as well. Let's check that the files were saved correctly in the selected folder. Yes, we can see here that we have both images, the registered image and the one considered as fixed. Once a cube is saved, it also appears here in the cube list. We can then send it to other tools, for example, the visualization tool we saw earlier. If you want to keep only a small part of the registered cube, select the region on the results view with a right-click, save only the cropped cube, and then save it. A confirmation message appears to make sure you really want to save only the small cube. Here, yes, we want to save only the small cube. In that case, a minikube suffix is added to the name. And you can also add metadata information for the minikube. For example, we can write that we keep only the compass in the bottom right. And this minikube, linked to the parent cube, will be the first one in our case. In this case, only the small cube is saved. And this minikube also appears in the cube list. We have now reached the end of the presentation of the image registration tool. Goodbye, and see you soon in the next video.